Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, when we have the opportunity to override vetoes, every year that we have the opportunity to do this, what ends up mattering to me is less about the subject of the bill, although that's very important, but it's about, and it is about the dignity of the people who are impacted by that bill and legislation. That's important. But I also think there's something that isn't said enough in this body, which is the dignity of ourselves and the dignity of this legislature as a separate branch of government that so many of you, for some reason, don't have the confidence to stand in. So it's not just about dignity for the people Senator Roundtree is aiming to help with LB 839, that all of you voted to support on final reading, by the way. Not all of you, but the body voted to support on final reading. The legislature spoke, and we said to the executive branch that this bill went through a committee hearing. It went through 3 rounds of debate. It passed on final reading, and we've made the decision as a branch of government that it's good policy. And this is not for lack of compromise on Senator Roundtree's part. He explained ad nauseum on the record to people who harangued him on 3 rounds of debate about why this policy was in good shape to be passed. And what we saw from the governor reflects a pattern that we saw in every other piece of legislation that he vetoed this year. There seems to be almost no strategic or intellectual reasoning for the flight of vetoes that he handed down to the legislature. I mean, in the case of Senator Conrad's bill, he didn't even understand what it did. Her bill that he vetoed, she worked with the Attorney General and the university on it. It was on consent calendar, and she introduced it as a favor. And he vetoed it. Why? None of these things are really that logical. And what's also sad about this process is how few of you are listening. One of my colleagues mentioned to me it would be really nice for a veto override if people were in their seats as we are during final reading. And I agree with that, because this is also one of the most solemn responsibilities we have as a legislature. Again, it is about dignity, and you are willing to subvert yourselves and get on your knees for a man in another branch of government who has nothing to do with you in your capacity in this work, and all he has to do is give you a wink and a phone call, and you will do his bidding every time. I think a reason a lot of you aren't listening, and it did get a little quiet, but I think a reason a lot of you haven't been listening is because you've already been told how to vote, and especially you newer senators, you're going to feel really different when eventually the shoe is on the other foot. The governor is not going to be on your side for your 4 or 8 or whatever years that you're here. I mean, you can talk to Senator Dorn about how the governor vetoed his bill to help Beatrice because of the Beatrice 6 settlement. We stood by him on that veto override, and that was good. That was good policy, and we felt good after that for standing in our power as a separate branch of government. So, if you thought this was good on final reading, I want you to ask yourself what changed since then except one man's opinion, who didn't even understand most of the vetoes that he handed down. We spoke as a body on 3 rounds of debate to move this forward. We spoke for thousands of Nebraskans who could be impacted by this good legislation, and we need to stand firm in our power and in the responsibility to those we serve. Any lack of this of support for this override, it betrays not just your hard-heartedness, which I don't care, that doesn't matter to me. I don't care if you're mean, like how would that affect me? It never has. But what it does betray, what you should be ashamed of, and it doesn't surprise me, is your lack of understanding of the bill after 3 rounds of debate, and for the process, and for your independence as a legislature. Character only matters when you stand by it when it's tough. After 8 years, I understand what it means to be a separate branch of government, and I'm proud of that. And that means standing in your process, standing by people over profits, standing by each other as colleagues, even when the governor doesn't know what that means or what that is. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Rabel.